What's up, Yuma? I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon.
On today's program, we are going to be joined first by David Power from Church Mexico. We're going to find out a little bit about his background and what led him to create this organization, saving kids that are at risk for sexual and physical abuse, as well as two students from right here at AWC, part of the Siendo Primero podcast. We're going to talk to Saghey and Melanie. They are both hosts of this podcast, and we're going to find out what it means to be first. So stay with us for What's Up Yuma Radio, beginning right now on KOFA 94.7 FM.
And streaming online at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. You can also view our show on the Border Radio Facebook page and the KAWC YouTube page. And don't forget, you can reach out to us by email at whatsupyumaradio@gmail.com.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by High Tanks Brewing Company, serving up scratch-made food, craft beers, and experiences at 2 desert locations in Welton. More at hightanks.com.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papa Giorgio from Yuma.
Johnny Show! What's up, Yuma? What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to another episode of What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon. And Johnny, it's good to be back.
Yes. To tell everybody where you went. You just wandered off, and then I was like, where's he at?
I took a little long weekend. I was in Las Vegas.
Okay. Gambling?
No, I'm not a gambler. No, okay. That's not my thing. But no, I was there for WrestleMania.
Okay, so hold on, wait, real quick though. So do you get tempted to gamble though, or
no?
When you're there?
No, I mean, I like to actually spend my money on like tangible things and like trips and food, and you know, I have to pay bills. So,
so I'm the same way. I just want to. We're gonna segue into that. I'm the same exact way. I remember the first time I actually even went to a casino. My boss gave me $20. He's like, "Hey, go gamble."
Yeah,
and I put it in like the slots, and I lost it all. And I'm like,
right.
I could have really used that $20.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, this sucks.
And then, you know, if you've been to Las Vegas recently, everything's more expensive. So, I mean, as it is in the world, right?
Yeah.
But so you're gonna spend that money anyway. So you should spend it on, you know, things you need like food and water and
stuff to exist as
stay
a human
hydrated
being
in the desert.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so not tempted to do that. But you spent the weekend there. Was it like a weekend full of wrestle stuff?
Yeah. So it's like the Super Bowl of wrestling. And as we talked before, you know, there are people that do travel for it. So just like the Super Bowl, right? There's plenty of events around it. People go in from out of town. I met people. I met a podcast group from Pennsylvania, the Bell to Bell Banter podcast.
Okay, and they set up like at different places around.
Yeah, I mean, like anyone can be a podcaster, right? But people like will, you know, now on their phones they'll just record stuff and like you know, videos and stuff. And as we talked about, because we had the folks on from Attitude Pro Wrestling, and they have a show coming up this next weekend locally in here in Yuma. They have one every month, but at the Z Fun Factory. So there's all these independent wrestlers that go out there. You know, everyone, you know, goes out there and makes a whole week of it.
Yeah.
And there's events. There's a fan festival, all that good stuff.
What was your favorite event?
I say the fan festivals because you get to meet people like from all over the world, and you get to see you know, people who are really into wrestling. And like I said, you know, it's not for everyone, but there's people that are really into it.
Yeah.
And so they go all out, and some people dress up as like the old wrestlers like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
They like go in full costume, and so I'm not that, you know, much of a fan to dress up. But
you don't do the cosplay aspect?
No. But yeah, it's fun. And I met up with my cousin Amanda and her husband from Southern California. So
are they fans as well?
They're
or are
fans
they just
as well.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I met up with them there, and we had brunch, and we were both at WrestleMania, and yeah, I mean, it's so mainstream now. It was on ESPN. They had guys like Rob Gronkowski and George Kittle in the audience, like watching. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's cool though. And then I just want to say, because I know how personal it is with you.
Yeah.
Like you and your father
Right.
would take you. That was the time you got to spend together.
Right.
And so it has a special place in your heart because of that.
Yeah, very much so. We'll talk briefly about it. But yeah, so, you know, for me, it was watching it with my dad growing up. And so now you see a lot of like fathers and sons and daughters and mothers, like, you know, women are really into it as well, and they'll dress up and they'll get the shirts of men and the women fighters and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I wanted to go to the Little Luchas on Sunday, but my washing machine, it's Sunday, you know, laundry day, and my washing machine broke, and yeah, that kind of threw a wrench in a washing machine.
Well, hopefully they come back, and like I said, the Attitude Pro Wrestling is here locally, but you did well in my absence. You had a guest host, Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy came in.
Well.
She helped out. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a good week from what I can tell.
Yeah, thank you, man. Well, it's good to have you back. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you're familiar with the guests we're going to have on in the second half. So
yes, we'll talk about the students because they are part of our family here at 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
Absolutely. And without further ado, we are here with David Power. He is from Church México. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so a guest canceled like late last night. I was texting Victor about it, and we were just gonna plan on bantering for a while. But then you also texted me late last night, and then I texted you this morning, and your words were, "Do you have anybody that fills in when somebody doesn't show up?" And I was like, "I don't, but I actually have that opportunity right now today. Can you be here in 40 minutes?" You said I could be there in 50, and it's a done deal. And you're here with us today.
Yeah, what a blessing. It's amazing how God works, right?
Yeah, no, so thank you so much for racing over here. I appreciate you beat Victor over here, so that's good.
I enjoyed driving fast, so it was a good opportunity.
Did you drive your bike, your motorcycle?
No,
or no,
I didn't. No, I drove the truck, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, you're from Church México, but we like to get to know all of our guests here on the show, and you've been a previous guest here on the show, but still go a little bit into your background. You're from here in Yuma?
Born and raised, 4th generation.
That's a long time to have your family here. No, it's cool. And I know a few, and it's Power with no S, but I'm going to say it plural, Powers. I knew a few of them, around.
Yeah, they're still around. I got nephews and nieces, and they have children. So there's a good 6 generations at least in Yuma.
Yeah, and you have I guess, a very famous nephew, Tyler, right?
Yeah, Teasy.
Teasy, the cheesecake. You're familiar with the cheesecake guy? Oh, you don't?
No, is that a local? Sorry.
Yeah,
fill me in.
Yeah, he's a cheesecake guy, so
Okay.
he does. Yeah, but he's quite successful and have found his niche on social media.
Okay.
So yeah, people come and review him on TikTok from all over. They'll come and just make a stop at his location just to try his cheesecake. So
Teasy Culinary Creations, the best cheesecake in the world. That's why they're coming from around the world.
Yeah,
Now I'm hungry for cheesecake.
Yeah, we got to get him back on the show.
Get a sample.
Yeah, so he can bring us some cheesecakes.
Yeah,
but no, yeah. So your family's here. So you grew up here. You went to school here. All that good stuff.
Yeah, I grew up, graduated from Yuma High School, 93. Go Criminals, right? My situation was pretty unique because my family was a farming family, right? And all my siblings grew up out on the farm and on the ranch, and my story's a little bit different. I don't know if you want me to share some of that.
No, well, absolutely. And then why would you say different? Why is your story different? And is a farm different than a ranch?
They can be.
Okay.
They can be the same. So it just depends on if you're raising cattle or growing broccoli or both.
Yeah, so a farm, broccoli, ranch, cattle, or, and livestock. Is that kind of the...
Yeah, my father had up to 500 head of cattle at one time, raced horses, but he also, they took desert land and turned it into farming.
So he did both.
Yeah.
So farm and ranch. So you're growing up on the...
Well, I didn't grow up there. All my family did. I was the youngest. I was the last child, and my situation was different because when well, first off, I was an accident. My mother was 39 years old, my dad 46, I believe, when I came along, and they weren't planning on me.
Yeah.
And so while my mother was pregnant, at 6 months pregnant, my father was in a car accident. He was paralyzed from the waist down. That changed everything. Everything that they knew, all their rodeo, all their livestock, all their farming, and the family had to move into town. And so I was born in town. I became a city boy, and because my dad was in a wheelchair all the time, my mom was working, providing for the family. They put me in sports at a young age. And I believe that I had brothers and sisters, but the reality was that they were all my half-brothers and sisters. My mother and father had both been married and divorced 3 times before they got married and had me. So really different upbringing there. And then getting in, my father passed away when I was 12 years old. And so I'm sharing a little bit of my story
absolutely.
of the challenges, right, in my life growing up, getting started. as a young adolescent teenager, my older brothers got in trouble, and I kind of followed in their footsteps so much that between my sophomore and junior year of high school, they sent me off to Phoenix because I was getting in too much trouble here.
To try to get you away from the crowd? Or?
To get me away from, all the people, all the situations that I was used to, the trouble I was getting in, and it worked. I did well up there with my sister, Christina, in Tempe, Arizona. Came back for my senior year, and I was able to graduate and had a full ride scholarship to Central Arizona College to compete in rodeo. So I went to school, I went to college there, and graduated with my associates.
So you were doing the rodeo here then, I would assume, right?
Yes. So
okay.
I was, it was football, basketball, soccer, BMX, wrestling, tennis.
Oh, you did a lot.
All the above.
Everything. Okay.
Until I got into rodeo during my sophomore year. And so.
And that was like a school thing? Like they used to have it for school, or how does that work?
They did not have a high school team, but they had a Arizona High School Rodeo Association, which they do in each state. So I got to compete at the state level and travel a lot. So when they sent me to Phoenix to get me out of trouble, I actually got to go get on bulls every single weekend because they had these open gymkhanas, jackpots. I had friends that their parents had bulls. So I got to do all that. And then when I graduated high school, went on the road professionally. And, I'd been, by the time I graduated high school and graduated college, I'd been told 3 times that I should have been dead. And so after college, I had one of my college buddies come over while I was roding professionally, and I had this kind of come to Jesus moment, you know what I mean, where he shared with me about faith, about the Lord, and that moment changed my life.
Mm-hmm. So you said you should have been dead. Like, do people tell you go die, or like, what do you mean?
No,
it's like you had close calls, or
yeah. So one time, drinking and driving, flipped the car 3 times, and shouldn't have been there. Another time hit a pole. Another time a bull stepped on the side of my head. There was just these instances where they said, man, you shouldn't. You were that close.
You were really close.
And it's interesting because I didn't grow up in a Christian family, but every single time they said that, they would say somebody's watching over you. I didn't know who that was.
Okay, so not a Christian upbringing. You're a pastor now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Of sorts. You're a pastor of pastors now, I think, something like that. You're talking a little bit off air, like you're leading leaders. Yeah,
I was a pastor here in Arizona. For about 5 years, they sent me to Mexico to plant a church, and started pastoring a church down in San Luis, and it was really difficult out in the middle of the desert, Sonoran Desert, 115 degrees, and eating sand while I'm preaching, and in the winter baptizing people in January, and can't speak because my teeth are clattering.
Yeah, doing that thing.
Yeah. So we did that for 5 years, and then some friends of mine, Tom and Bill, showed up from Colorado and said, hey, you're outside. You've been doing this for 5 years. Can we build you a building? Do you have any plans? And we said, yeah. So we gave them the plans. But very difficult time of my life as a pastor down there.
So when you were riding bulls, did you think you were going to be a pastor? When
never.
You're getting hit in the head by a bull, they're stepping on you, you're coming close to death. Did you see Jesus? You had near-death experience?
Well, so I started riding bulls professionally, not as a Christian. My buddy Vince came over and shared the gospel with me, right? Had that come to Jesus moment. Everything changed. And I continued rodeoing, but now with a totally different focus on life. I don't talk about bull riding very often. It's not a big part of my life, but
it was, right?
Well, it absolutely was, and I learned so many lessons through it. So many lessons.
What is the goal of bull riding?
Well, my goal was to be a world champ.
Well, no, but I'm saying just in bull riding in general, when you're at a rodeo.
You have to stay on for like 8 seconds, right?
Yeah, so that's
at least
that's the bare minimum goal, right?
Break it down to me like I'm a 3rd grader.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll share it with you like this.
Yeah.
So we were in California, and we had this 5-day bull riding event, and there's 3 rounds. You got first round, second round, you qualify for the last round. So, you get on the bull, and you want to make that whistle at 8 seconds. I was down to my last $400, right? And the first round, I got bucked off.
So I just want to give some context. Last $400, because this is what you do for a living.
Exactly. And
so you need to make money doing this. You got $400. That's for forever, right? That's
exactly.
it. That doesn't make rent or anything. You're not going to be able to eat maybe just some Taco Bell or something. And you're saying, okay, I got to do this.
That's it. Yeah, you got to do it. If I don't do this, I quit. I got to go get a job somewhere. Like my identity, my career is is like, it takes a pause if it's not over. It was that serious. And so the first bull you get bucked off, I was completely discouraged and disappointed. And many of your listeners, you guys yourself probably have been in that situation where you're like, man, I got nowhere to go. I got nothing to do. I can't make it happen. And then I got on my second bull. Well, very few other riders had rode also, and they took the top 13 into the final round. And it's neat because the final round, all the previous scores, they disappear, right? So I go to get on my second bull, and second jump, he turns away from my hand, and I get held off onto the side, and I'm hanging there.
And this is within seconds.
Within seconds.
This is seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds. You're on, and then 2 seconds, you're woo.
I'm on the side. I'm hanging over, and I'm going around in a circle. And normally you let go because if you don't, you can get hurt, right? And the only thing I'm thinking is I only got $400 left.
Yeah.
Like, I got to make this. I got a chance.
You got to get hurt. Maybe you got to get hurt.
Exactly.
Get some money. Yeah. Okay.
And you know the barrel where the clown jumps in? And I'm spinning around and I see this barrel come around into my view as I'm spinning on the side of this view, not wanting to let go. And I'm thinking, oh no, I'm going to get hit. A second turn, my head actually hit the barrel.
Hit your barrel. So this again within seconds.
Within seconds.
You know, hold on real quick. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm going to keep everybody in suspense. We're going to take a break real quick, and you're going to have to come back on the other side of the break, and we're going to find out if he got a concussion or not, if he was able to hold on. But you're going to have to hold on right after this. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
From KAWC, this is Siendo Primero. I'm Melanie Ruiz Lopez.
And I'm Saghey Barcenas. In this episode, we'll be talking about entrepreneurs and local business.
No querían que empezara a vender. Y yo me lo aventé y lo hice.
When I do retire, I will have everything ready to go.
You only need one voice that believes in you. That's gonna motivate you extremely.
A new energy with the same mission.
To give students a voice.
You're tuned to 94.7 FM. The weather forecast for Yuma today is sunny with the high near 92, gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Mostly clear and breezy tonight with a low around 63. On the latest episode of The Hotspot, students from across the country and world share their experience on living in Yuma versus other places. You can listen to the latest episode of The Hotspot on the KAWC app and at kawc.org. Stay tuned to What's Up Yuma on 94.7 FM, KOFA Border Radio.
The Yuma County Library District hosts Desert Gardening Hacks on Saturday, April 25th from 10:30 to 11:30 at the Yuma Main Library. Attendees can learn creative ways to help their desert garden thrive. Open to experienced and aspiring gardeners ages 18 and up. Details and information at yumalibrary.org.
If you're tired of listening to long commercials before finally hearing music, look no further. We've got you covered. Whether you're searching on your radio, trying to find an app to play some tunes, or need background music playing on your computer while finishing up some work, KOFA Border Radio is your non-commercial place for music.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up Yuma Radio. We are here with David Power, and we got to the point of a story. He's in the rodeo, and he takes a barrel upside his head. Well, the barrel doesn't come at him. He goes out the barrel because he's trying to hold on to this bull because he only has $400 in the bank, and he needs to win. So what happens after you get smacked upside the head?
Yeah, just remember, it knocks you silly for a second, right?
But literally for a second. Again, these are seconds. That's what it's so crazy because you mentioned 8 seconds is like you want to hold on for it.
That's correct. It seems like a very short amount of time, but when you're out there and you're on that bull and you're hanging off the side, it seems like forever. And it's interesting because in life, things happen in such a moment, right? We make decisions in moments, not over lifetimes, that could change the course of our lives. And these were seconds that changed everything for me regarding my career. Mm-hmm. If I would have let go because I was afraid, because I got hit, because of whatever the dangers or the fear or the worry was, I wouldn't have made the buzzer. So I get hit, I get kind of stunned, and the only thing I can think of is do not let go. And all of a sudden I heard the buzzer. and the buzzer hit, and I fell off, and I made the ride. I got a qualified score. It was very low. It was not good. But there was only 11 other guys that made qualified rides between the 2 rounds.
And that's how it works. As long as you make the buzzer, but the person that makes the buzzer longer, they qualify higher or something?
Well, in this rodeo is different.
Okay,
so
there's different rodeos. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just one ride. You
One ride,
get points and that's
Gotcha.
it. But this was a really big rodeo. You had to be in the top 50 in the world to compete in it.
Gotcha.
And they had big money, right? And so because I made the qualified ride and there were only 11 other guys, they only took 13 to the final round. Okay. So I made the final round, right? So when I was so discouraged and afraid that I wasn't going to get to keep rodeoing because I bucked off the first time, I got on the second bull. When I was facing fear, when I got hit in the head, when all these things happened, I didn't let go, and that qualified me for the next round. Well, guess what happened in the next round?
What happened?
I won it.
You won.
I won the whole rodeo.
So how do you win? Everybody else gets bucked off earlier than you?
I had more points than
you
the
had
other
more
guys.
points.
Yeah, some of them got bucked off. Some of them made good rides, right? In the final round, they have the best bulls, so a lot of your scores are really high. I just happen to have the highest score. And, that's the thing in life, right? As we go through these challenges and we think there's no hope and we don't know how we're going to get to the next step even sometimes, right? We're so discouraged and disappointed. There's always an opportunity. If we just keep pressing on, if we don't let go, if we don't quit, right? And we're in a race that we need to run to the finish line. And when we do, when we cross over that difficulty in our lives, there's a crown waiting for us on the other side. There's a prize waiting for us on the side that if we can just get past the challenge right in front of us, there's so much something better on the other side.
Yeah, it's like the age-old story of the dragon and then the princess is on the other side of it, right? And that's where, like you said, the prize is you got to face that dragon. And like even right now, a little bit inside of my life, I started this new company, What's Up Media, based upon all the stuff we're doing. And building and hiring people to do what I normally would do. So all the stuff that's in my head, I got to figure out how to tell it to other people. And I put a pen to paper and processes and SOPs and all this stuff. And it's been an absolute nightmare. But I know I have to get past this. This is like the dragon for me. This is the one thing, like how do I do this? And it's been real difficult. But I know on the other side, once I'm able to do this, then it's going to be worth it. And we're going to have a company that makes money and actually can function. But this is a really, drooling or whatever, the tough time that I have to hold on to get to that and win. And you won the money. How much money did you win?
It was a few $1,000s.
Few $1,000, better than $400.
Oh, yeah. It kept me going for another 3-4 months. So, and then things started to pick up from there. But, you talk about the dragon that you're going through. Like you don't have to do it. Like, you can stop.
You can stop, yeah.
You're never going to reach
I like princesses, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're never going to reach the other side if you stop, right? And in life, there's a lot of dragons. There's a lot of demons. There's a lot of, things that they want to keep us from where we really want to be. And you're doing the hard work. You're pressing on. You're persevering. You're fighting the good fight to get to the other side. And on the other side, you're going to be victorious.
And so that you reached out and you were talking about, so a little bit of Church Mexico, like I said, at-risk kids in Mexico. There's, sexual abuse, physical abuse. There's cartels over there that you're helping at the root, right? I guess before the cartels get to them, before the different organizations can reach these kids, you're reaching them. So I want to give a little bit of context for that. But you're also starting something new, and it's going to be encouragement, and you're going to do some segments. Tell everybody about that.
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, it's called the Daily 1-Minute Word of Encouragement. So my friend Eddie and Stephanie are helping me to record these videos where I go on and I just 1 minute a day or post it on our Facebook page, Instagram page, David B. Power. And so those will be starting out next week if people want to get a word of encouragement each day. But the Church Mexico thing that you're talking about and these kids. So when I was down planning the church in Mexico, there was so many difficulties, so much trauma, so much evil, so much darkness, and we struggle with that day after day, month after month, year after year. I was there for 10 years, and we would go to the police, and they couldn't do anything about it because people wouldn't confess.
And you would see it up close, right? It must have been very disturbing. And
there were 3 people that came into my life, girls, right, that I could tell were being abused, and then try to pursue that, approach that, deal with the people involved, and it was just impotence. They couldn't seem to do anything anything about it to rescue them because it's a taboo in the culture. If you tell on the dad, the uncle, the cousin, they go to prison, then there's nobody to work and buy food and provide for the family. Yeah. So we had all these difficulties down there, boys getting sucked up in the cartels. And so very, very difficult time that was down there. And, after 5 years of being out in the open, right, struggling through that, persevering through that, then we get to the other side of the dragon, right? These guys come down, they build these facilities, dorm rooms and showers and classrooms and computer lab and commercial kitchen and all that stuff. Same kind of thing happened with the kids. We struggle, fight the good fight, and it seems like there's no hope. It's like, man, what am I going to do? I can't do anything. And there's this desire to just quit, right? Because you can't find the solution. Well, we didn't quit. We kept working, kept praying, and ultimately we started something called Rescuing Girls Before They Need Rescuing. And so we're working with local churches now where I go around and train pastors and leaders in these different churches throughout the entire northern region of Mexico of how to reach young girls that are in this pipeline, right? They get sucked up in human trafficking and sexual abuse and all these kind of things. They have babies as 12, 13-year-olds, and they get sold off into slavery and so forth. So we take this really, really dark, difficult situation, and we find a solution for it. And now these girls are coming in and learning about a better life, right? Understanding God's plan for their life, having a community which they can call out to if they feel like they're being pursued or in danger or tempted to do things as teenagers do. We were there. And now we're doing that with the boys. My good friend Jim Paxton, he's been on here before with Valor Foundation. He's helped us get started something called Men of Valor in Mexico. And so now we're reaching the boys, and they're coming every week. Last week we had 2 of the kids that we were able to reach from the community through Men of Valor. They gave their life to Christ, got baptized, are part of the church, and their lives are being changed. And as a result, their futures are being changed.
Yeah, and then future generations are being changed, right? Because I think last time we had you on the show, you had mentioned, I was asking, like, what's the practical aspects of it? But you go in and, or maybe this was a private conversation, but some of them have become like doctors or lawyers or, somebody that didn't have any schooling, any type of education, not even a thought maybe they could become this, that you help that, help facilitate that?
Yeah, Church Mexico helps support that, right? So we sponsor these kids. So you have the Men of Valor, the Rescuing Girls, you have the church community, and then we keep them in school. A good friend of mine, Paco Nolasco out of San Luis, his son, Josafat, we helped sponsor him, and he became a lawyer. He's a lawyer today. He just got married. His wife is pregnant. Now, Paco and his family in Josafat, they went days without food. They've been hungry before. They didn't have a car that worked. They didn't have AC out on the desert. Paco worked really, really hard and wanted to provide for his family, but he could have never provided for his son to go to college, especially to become a lawyer.
It probably wasn't even a thought, right? Not even like he's going to be a lawyer one day, and that's not like something that they're, part of the family. Hey, one day you're going to be a lawyer, continue to study. Not even a thought, but because you were able to give them the opportunity to think bigger because it's a practical application.
Absolutely. So generation to generation to generation, they don't appreciate education because they've never been able to do it. It's the haves and the haves not. They were the haves not, so we're going to work hard, bust our butts. So Church Mexico comes in, and we invite people to sponsor kids through the organization. So it's not me, but people in the U.S. are saying, hey, I want to help make a difference in this child's life. I want to change their future, and we help facilitate that.
Yeah, because I was going to ask if you had any partnerships with like either local government or other local community groups in Mexico, in San Luis, Colorado.
We have partnership with the different churches in San Luis, Mexicali, the Valle. There's 8 churches currently that we're partnering with. We just started a whole nother round of training with 11 churches, so that'll continue to increase. Within those churches, there's 180 kids. Well, we only have 71 kids sponsored. So anybody that wants to help invest in changing a kid's future, man, we have the whole system. So it's not just getting an education, because they can go to school and be twice the child of hell, right? Like they could go off the deep end by getting education. But you have the church community, you have the Rescuing Girls, you have the Men of Valor teaching these kids character, right, morals, values, their understanding a better plan for their lives. And so you add the education piece to that, it changes not just their lives, but their future families' lives. And here's the thing, it's going to change the future of the communities in which we're working in.
Absolutely.
The entire community, the culture is going to be changing in the future.
Yeah, and you're at the ground level of that. And the reason why I kind of emphasize that, because what's our next segment going to be about, Victor?
Yeah, so we have the hosts of Siendo Primero, Saghey and Melanie, coming on.
And what is talk about what they do?
Oh,
and
yeah,
what the podcast is about, because it kind of links right into
Primero,
it.
I don't have to, but being first, and so for them it's about first generation college students.
Awesome.
And being the first in their family, Siendo Primero, to go to college, and then to have a career and all that good stuff.
That's amazing. I'm interested in pursuing the connection between getting kids from Mexico to get an education over here. That would be even better. Right now, the Rock Church and the Journey Church and Church for the City are sponsoring kids and helping us out down there. But again, it's such a bigger opportunity, and there's so many more kids that haven't received the help that we need to.
So maybe we could work on something and see about that connection with here at AWC. I think that was maybe a God-ordained day for you to come in, because literally that's what the whole next segment's about, the first in their community to go to college.
That's awesome.
It's not their parents have never been there, but I've talked to a lot of people at AWC. They make a really nice pathway for them to for this to happen. They have like counselors and advisors and people to walk them through something that might be totally scary because they have no frame of reference for it.
Yeah, no, they have no clue. Again, they've never had anybody on either side, parents, grandparents, mother, father, cousins. Nobody's gone through it. So we help them walk through that on the Mexico side. It's really challenging. We're not professionals in education like AWC is. So love to connect with you guys. And getting them here legally is so huge for us. We look really down upon illegal immigration, but coming to the U.S., we want it to be done right, in an honoring way and a right way. And so if we can get some of those young people over here and get into school, I think it would be that much better.
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick before we end, so how do you stay encouraged? To bring the 1 minute,
Yeah, well, my time in the morning, this morning before you messaged me, is the greatest time of my life every single day. I go to sleep at night looking forward to the next morning. I wake up and I've developed the ability just to listen for the Lord and I spend time in His Word. I spend time in prayer. That's my encouragement, and then try to walk in that throughout the day. And you said something about God ordained stuff, right? He just ordains conversations and relationships and experiences that are unbelievable, and it's extremely inspiring. So I still have a lot of challenge that I face, you know what I mean? A lot of growth opportunities, but the Lord is, I know where I'm going. I know who's inviting me forward.
Yeah.
And He's my inspiration every day.
Absolutely. So tell everybody one more time where they can get that minute if they need encouragement, which I think we all do. So.
Well, thank you so much. Daily 1 minute word of encouragement. I will be starting to post next week on my Facebook page and Instagram, David B. Power.
All right. Thank you so much for, filling in and doing this. And I just want to say, so David, he is a man of his word. So when my house got flooded, I stayed at his Airbnb for that whole month. He provided a place for me to stay. And when I was kicked out of my house where they were doing all that reconstruction and everything. So thank you so much for that, man. I just had to give a shout out and a highlight about that, man. Really appreciate you. And with that, who are we going to be back with?
Saghey and Melanie from Siendo Primero.
All right. We'll be right back. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by the 2 Welton locations of High Tanks Brewing Company, its craft brewery and tap room, featuring scratch-made food and handcrafted beers, including Daphne's Date Ale and the Gila Hazy IPA. Also, live music and experiences such as farm tours and glamping are available. More at hightanks.com.
For KAWC News, I'm Alexandra Rangel. Arizona Western College is set to host inspirational speaker Nolan Arbaugh next week. Nolan is a Yuma native and made history as the first recipient of a Neuralink brain implant after a 2016 diving incident left him paralyzed. The device now allows him to perform digital tasks using only his mind. Since receiving the implant, Nolan has returned to independent activities, including continuing his education at AWC, competing in chess, and even starting his own business. He's currently studying biology with the goal of becoming a neuroscientist. School officials say the event will offer an opportunity for attendees to hear about his remarkable journey and how he was able to defy overwhelming odds to pursue higher education. The event will take place on Tuesday, April 28th from 3 to 4 p.m. at Arizona Western College. For KAWC News, I'm Alexandra Rangel.
I'm Maria Hinojosa. Next time on Latino USA, our producer Tasha Sandoval takes us back to Colombia, what it's like to leave the United States and go back to the motherland.
I think I want to prove something to myself. Is Colombia still home? And if it's not, can I make it home again?
That's next time on Latino USA.
Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on KOFA Border Radio 94.7 FM.
KAWC and Border Radio are sponsors of the Village Jazz Series, with concerts every Thursday evening from 6 to 8 at Yuma Palms Regional Center. This week, the AWC and KOFA high school jazz bands share the stage for an evening of energetic live jazz. Guests should bring their own seating. Details under Village Jazz at yumajazz.com.
K-pop fans, we can never get enough of Girl Time, right? So join me for the Girl Time Part 2 show with KAWC Twice, Baby Monster, and more. K-pop for Border airs on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on KOFA Radio. You can stream the show on KAWC's app or website, or follow K-pop for Border Facebook or Instagram.
I use KAWC almost on a daily basis in my car. It's the background for chores around my house. And I go to the website and look for stories that are of interest, and I listen to podcasts. I look to the news on NPR because I'm looking for something beyond the headline or a soundbite or a gotcha moment. I really want news that shows me sort of the multiple dimensions of a story, that seeks information from multiple sources and doesn't tell me how to think. It just presents the issues, and I really appreciate that. Being a sustaining member of a service like KAWC takes the mystery out of it for me. So I know that I am supporting every month. I also know that I don't have to remember to sit down and write a check at the end of the year or a budget for a check at the end of the year, right? It's kind of coming out of my account every month, and that makes me feel a little bit like I'm part of the team. I'm Lori Stoft from Arizona Western College, and I'm a proud supporter of KAWC Yuma.
For over 55 years, Border Radio KOFA has been a voice for music and culture in the region. We play indie, soul, funk, world beats, and more, plus local stories and live sessions. Tune in live at 94.7 FM, on demand at borderradioaz.org, or on the KOFA app and discover your next favorite song.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up, Yuma Radio. We are here now joined by
Saghey Barcenas and Melanie Ruiz Lopez from Siendo Primero.
All right. Thank you for being with us, and explain what Siendo Primero is.
Yeah. So, Dave, when this first started, Dave Reek, our general manager, had an idea. I think he met with a couple of students who we wanted to get more student voices. And for the community here at Arizona Western College, if you know our community, we're all about first-generation students. So it kind of made sense. And if you know about who goes to school here, it's a lot of Mexican-American students. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to combine those two. And so we got on, we've had on Melanie and Saghey are our fourth and fifth hosts of the show, but we've had other students before them. And so, it was just talk to students. Let's bring out some student voices. Everyone has their own story of how they came to Arizona Western College, right? Some people grew up in Yuma County. Some people, like Saghey, are not from Yuma County, coming from Tijuana.
Yes.
But, and we'll get into that. But, so we just want to know, how people got to college, what motivated them to be the first in their family to go to college. It's, to take that first step and say, I want to have a career. I want to go to college because of, whatever reason, my family didn't, my parents didn't go to college. And so... but, I want to have a career. I know what I want to do, more or less. not everyone does when they come here. Some people just want to go to college and find out what they want to do while they're here.
Yeah.
Some people come on and say, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I want to go into media. And so that's what we tried to do here at the station at both KAWC with the student newsroom and with KOFA Border Radio, is to bring on those student voices, because we want not just to hear from you or me or, the other hosts, but hear our community and be more of that college radio station that we come to love and enjoy.
Absolutely. And I just want to say real quick, because of that show, this podcast, this show exists because that's where I met Dave and Lou for the first time. They were doing something at Prison Hill, like doing a special for the show, and they were there, and I was there. Prison Hill was my client. So I met them and became friends with Lou after that and stayed in contact with them. And when I had the idea for the show, I hit up Lou and he said, "I come tell Dave," and Dave loved the show. So I'm glad that show exists because now this show exists. So without further ado, let's get to our guest. So you've been the host longer, and you've also been on my show. We're part of the Raza, right?
Yes, I've been on your show, but she's been the host longer. I just got in here. Yeah.
So you're the show. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just one semester. Is that the difference between us? Yeah. But we're part of it.
Oh, yes. Gotcha. Okay. So you're the OG. So then we're going to ask you all the questions. No, Victor's going to take the reins with this one.
So first, let me say that our first hosts were Angelica Albarran and David Valdez.
The very first ever?
They were the first two hosts of Siendo Primero, and I don't know if either of you know them. But yeah, so they got it started and sort of like set what the show was going to be. Mm-hmm. But so we do like to get to know our guests. So let's start with Saghey. So I was saying you are from Tijuana. And you first of all, why'd you select AWC? What about Yuma? Did you have family here or in like San Luis, or what drew you to AWC?
It's something different because my mom was here on Yuma. She was here from 10 years ago, kind of. And I just came here to see her, see my brother, and then she was getting classes here, English classes, and I have to go with her. So, okay, do you want to come with me? Sure, why not? I don't have any things to do. So I first came here, and it was like, oh, this is amazing. I really want this experience. And I was with her in her class like 2 weeks, kind of. And then I went to the 3C building just to see, and then they told me, okay, do you want to study here? We can have that opportunity to you. Do you have your transcript or something like your grades from Tijuana? I always carry those documentations in my cell phone. So I showed them, okay, do you want to study here? We can find a scholarship to you. And for me, at first, it was like, okay, this is too much money. So I'm not sure about it. And then 1 month ago, I received the scholarship and a message saying, welcome to Arizona Western College.
Wow.
So I was in Tijuana with my mom. Well, with my grandma, sorry. My mom was here, and then I called her, Mom, I'll be studying there. And even so, I had to say it to my grandma. I had to take my things and come here. And yeah, that's my starting here.
Yeah, and because that's the good thing about Arizona Western College is that money should not be a barrier to education. And so if you're motivated, if you want to go to school, there's scholarships out there. The AWC Foundation, we've had them on, and they do a good job of helping students, with books, with tuition, with meal plan, all that good stuff. And so shout out to the foundation.
Yeah, shout out to them for sure. Is that the foundation that helped you get this?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
They helped me a lot since the first day here. And even so, from before starting the semester, they helped me a lot. And thanks to them, I'm here.
So even before you started, they were already helping you and giving you that. So, because it could be scary. You said you came over, you liked it, you saw it, you want to be there.
Yeah.
But then getting here and making that happen, that's scary sometimes, right?
Yeah, I was so afraid because even so, speaking in English is English is not my first language. It's Spanish. It's Español. And coming here and, okay, hi, my name is Saghey Barcenas. I had to say to my professor the first day, Professor, sorry, I don't speak English very well. Please have patience with me. And it was 4 professors. My professor of graphic design, he said, okay, but your language will be on vectors. My professor of math, okay, but your language will be numbers. My English professor, that he gave me the confidence to be here on KAWC.
Oh, okay, very cool. Who is that? Do you give a shout out to?
I cannot say it.
Oh, okay.
You know, Professor, who you are.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Okay, cool.
But he gave me that confidence, and he gave me that opportunity to be part of Siendo Primero. And he said, okay, but you'll be learning. Even another professor of communications, he said, okay, you'll be still learning. You have to speak. Okay, present yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was so afraid at first, but I really like this experience.
You do? What do you like about it?
Everything, because I'm studying something that I really like. My major is computer graphics.
Oh, okay.
And when I was studying in Tijuana, it was related to communication and kind of graphic design, but not too much, because I have to see it in Spanish. Comunicólogos son todólogos. De todo sabemos un poco. So we were like communications. We know a little bit about everything. But I wanted to know more about graphic design. And I came here, and all my classes that I had already are related to that, and they're so experience that I had. Right now, I'm working on KAWC, but also on print services here on campus.
Okay, yeah, so getting some real-world experience.
Exactly. You have that experience, not just from the computer, but instead of that, from printing, the papers, the weights, different things. So it's a view from the students here at KAWC, and also the professional side, or even with the professors on print services.
Very
I really
cool.
like this experience.
Yeah, I could tell. You keep smiling, and you're really excited, and you're making me excited right now. So I absolutely love it. It's a blessing for me. But we do got to take a quick break.
Okay.
We're going to do that real quick, and we'll be back with more. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
This is folk singer Michael Jonathan inviting you to join us on this week's broadcast of Wood Songs. Mark and Maggie O'Connor. Mark is one of the most awarded artists in all of roots music history. He's got an incredible book, starting when he was just 12 years old, winning some of the most amazing awards like Guitar and Fiddle Awards nationwide. Mark and Maggie O'Connor on this week's broadcast of the Wood Songs Old Time Radio Hour.
This evening at 7 p.m. on KOFA Border Radio 94.7 FM.
It's going to be breezy in Quartzsite today with a high near 90 and gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 55. Sunny in Yuma with a high near 92. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 63. And sunny and breezy in Parker with a high near 93. Gusts as high as 35 miles per hour. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 56.
What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored in part by Nova Home Loans, serving Yuma County and nearby communities. Nova Home Loans offers residential lending services, including home loans and refinancing. They are also proud supporters of local community efforts and organizations. More information is available at novahomeloansyuma.com.
Bopping to the new beats heard around the world, or relaxing to the tunes of Memory Lane. We are your non-commercial source of music. Run by volunteer hosts, this is KOFA Border Radio, 94.7 FM, 1320 AM, on the KOFA app, or at borderradioaz.org.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up Yuma Radio. We are here joined by
the host of Siendo Primero. We heard from Saghey Barcenas, so now we're going to hear from Melanie Ruiz Lopez.
All right, Melanie, that's a tough act to follow right here. Are you going to be able to keep up the energy?
I'm going to try. Yeah,
all right.
I'll be smiling a lot.
There you go. There you go. All right.
So what's your story? Are you from Yuma County, or where'd you grow up?
I was born here in Yuma, but I grew up in Mexico. Most of my life, I just stayed there because my parents are from Mexico.
Yeah.
So I just stayed there. But it was a whole new experience coming here. And then I'm living at the dorms, so it's a whole other level of experience.
You're really here.
Yeah, I'm really, really here.
Yeah. So what made you want to attend Arizona Western College?
Everything, actually. I've always wanted to come here and study here, but my parents were like, that's going to be really hard. Like, how are you going to do it? And it's just going to be hard. But I wanted to come here because I want to be a lawyer. And I felt like in Mexico, I wasn't going to get what I wanted. I wasn't going to get enough of what I wanted because I really like advocating and I wanted to advocate for people. And I was like, I don't feel like it's going to be it for me in Mexico. So I was like, I'll go there. And it was kind of hard, I'm going to be honest. But I'm here and I love it. I really love it.
And so you found your way to the Arizona Western, the Raza Advocates. So remind our listeners about that, what that group does.
Yeah, Raza Advocates. It's a group when we try to advocate for social...
Like change, like social justice? Yeah,
exactly. We try to change things that maybe a lot of young people think they don't have a voice or they don't know how to use it. And with our group, we built a community where we can actually be that voice and be that change for everyone.
So I just want to ask, so you're young, you're living in Mexico. What made you want to become a lawyer? Did you argue with your parents a lot?
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
and you're okay, cool. That's how it usually starts. And then mom and dad, like, you should be a lawyer. And you're like, I want to go to college. Well, that might be difficult, but yeah.
No, it was really, which is a weird way to call a kid, like, I don't know, to call them you guys, you're being too maybe
argumentative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the word. Because I didn't stand any adjustment. Even when we were in public and I saw someone, like maybe a man trying to be too aggressive to a woman.
Like something in you kind of rose up and you want justice for all.
I was there. I was like 6 years old and I was like, don't do that. And my parents were like, come on, what are you talking strange? Come on.
Yeah.
And I just always used to fight for everything.
So I know they just had the mental health forum on Saturday.
Yeah.
And you were a part of that. So tell our listeners and our viewers how that went.
I was a moderator and I presented everyone on the forum. It was really fun, actually. It was such a fun experience. And we were talking about mental health and I learned a lot, actually. I thought I knew a bit of mental health because my club on Raza Advocates were advocating for mental health. So I was like, oh yeah, I know this about this. But actually, I learned a lot and it's really important. I think for everyone that's watching or listening, mental health is really important. It's just as important as physical health, and we should put that much attention to it. This is a really good experience. I'm cool. Everywhere.
You do a lot.
Yeah.
So then, you said it was, again, it goes back to difficult or maybe scary coming over here because you don't have that clear pathway. So how did you get over here? Were you doing the same thing? Did you go to the foundation? Did you get a scholarship? What was your pathway like?
It was kind of different, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
My sisters used to go to high school here, so that's where I knew because they told them about camp, the program, and they told them about that, and I was like, oh, what is that? And I came here maybe it was, I thought like it's not going to exist anymore. It was there, and they told me like you need this like this documentations and this type of things. And I was like, sure, I'll get them. I didn't.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get them, and then I did, but it was too late. The camp was full. They already had every student that they were going to have. And I did my essay, I did my paperwork, I did a lot of things. But it was like, no, you have no chance. But you're in the waiting list. And I was like, oh, great, waiting list.
Yeah.
So I was going to go to college in San Luis, the AWC San Luis certain center. And but at the last time, literally 2 days before school started, they were like, no, you're coming. Like you need to be here.
Okay.
You need to be here tomorrow or the day after. And I was like, okay. So I'm packing because someone had drop out and I was like, oh, that's my chance. And I took it and I had promised myself like I'm gonna do anything I can, any opportunity. I'm never gonna say no because I didn't think I would have this opportunity. So now that I have it, everything's gonna be a yes.
Yes. I just, so real quick before we move, what kind of lawyer do you want to be?
Okay, so I'm indecisive and I'm so sorry, but it's
don't
either
be sorry, you're not gonna be
money, corporate, or people's like. I want to advocate for people.
Yeah, because I got that part, the advocate.
I want to do that.
But you
like
said corporate, maybe
public.
corporate, maybe?
maybe public lawyer for people or corporate for money.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay,
judge me,
hey,
okay?
no, I'm not judging you. There's nothing wrong with that. You need money to eat. Like, that's how you survive. And then you could have generational wealth and leave money to your kids and your family and change the whole. Absolutely. So there's nothing wrong with that.
So in the time left, let's talk about Siendo Primero. So quickly, how did each of you come to be a host on Siendo Primero? We'll start with Saghey.
As I said before, it was on my English class. We had to make a radio audio kind of about something that we fear.
Okay.
And I made my audio related to trypanophobia, that it's like that fear of needles.
Oh, okay.
But without telling, is this thing.
Okay.
My professor heard it and he said, "Oh, you have a good voice for radio. Do you want an opportunity? Maybe later as a class?" Okay, sure. And 1 semester later, I took applied journalism. It was just a class for me until he said, "Okay, I'll be preparing you to Siendo Primero."
Okay.
And because you speak Spanish, you speak English, and I was like, kind of English. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you can do it. And I know you have that, I don't know how to say.
Interest or like...
Yeah.
Like passion. You're not shy. That people can tell that about
Like, you have that power to do it. Just don't think about it. Just do it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. And then at the middle of the semester, it was, okay, prepare the first episode. It was before me with my classmate, Evelyn Garcia, and we were making about what is being a first generation student. Okay, we had the opportunity, and then this semester, okay, now you're in. You're a host and producer.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And then I heard that it will be Melanie part of this. And the first day, okay, we need to make this new episode. I thought, okay, again, being first generation student, because why not? We're having new students. So I told her, okay, this will be our flow of work. We have to make interviews. At first, on the other semester, we prepared to make interviews. Like, okay, a flash interview, going here, going there. She, the first time, just, okay, with the cell phone.
Yeah.
She was like this, making interviews already. And I was like, okay, this will be fun.
Oh, yeah.
You have that potential. Okay.
So we have about 2 minutes. Let me ask Melanie, what do you hope listeners take away from the show? Because it's bilingual, in español and inglés. What do you hope gente escuchando, what do you want them to take away from Siendo Primero?
I wish they could take away advice, but also that their story matters. That being first is important because you have no pathway and you know probably nothing or little of what you're going to do, but it matters and you matter and you're going to succeed if you want. Like, even though being first may seem like a big challenge and like a big obstacle, it's going to be your greatest weapon. You're going to do it.
Absolutely.
If you want, you can do it. Nothing's going to stop you.
Yeah. So do each of you, we have about a minute or two, do each of you have like a favorite interview you've done so far or show or topic?
I have a lot, but I just did a flash interview, which was really fun because the question was if you could do an event on imposter syndrome, what would you do? And they took me, like, I had no idea they were going to answer something like that. And they said I would do something like the movie Mean Girls, where you have to say something embarrassing about yourself or something you hate, an imposter syndrome thought, and then everyone has to say something nice about you. And no one can talk about what you just said. And it was like, okay, so we're doing that, and we're kind of going to do it on the show.
Oh, wow.
And that's a spoiler because that will be the next episode for Siendo Primero.
Oh, we still got some inside information right here.
Just a little bit.
Okay, before
And I
anybody
want to
else
say
knows.
the last episode, they had someone that we had on, so from Revival Fix, the mother and daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was a good episode, so check that out. And real quickly, tell our listeners and viewers where they can get, how they can listen to Siendo Primero.
You can hear us on KAWC.org under the shows tab. And also we are on Spotify, YouTube, and even you can send a message to us if you like. If you want to
Everywhere.
be part of this.
Yeah, and where do you guys record at again? You said they're not in here, not right?
No, it's not here on KAWC. It's on the student newsroom.
Newsroom, okay.
Called Western Voice. It's a classroom here on the library at AWC.
Oh, there's a classroom that has it. Oh, very cool. Have you been there?
I have, yes. I was asking them if they recorded in the studio because we don't see them.
Yeah, we don't see you.
So it's glad they could join us today.
Yeah, absolutely. So very cool. I appreciate you, both of you coming on the show. And I think if you did know English, we wouldn't be able to hold you back right here. It's like, it's like that's the only thing right there. But no, you're a firecracker, and you're going to go far in this. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and with that, it's time for this. What's Up Yuma Radio is a production of KAWC, Colorado River Public Media. We broadcast from the studios in the Matador Activity Center at Arizona Western College in Yuma. Want to thank our engineer, Talon Gonzalez, along with Anthony Ornales, Juan Garcia, and Dave Reek.
You can find out more about KOFA at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. Stay tuned for KOFA's Midday Music.
And on tomorrow's program, we're going to have a former DJ, or she's still a DJ, a radio jock, Amy Cross.
And we also have Josie Garcia from Milestones Preschool. And you can listen to the podcast version of our program and check out past episodes anytime at kawc.org/podcast/What's Up Yuma Radio.
And if you want to be a guest on this show, it's super easy. All you got to do is go to whatsupyuma.biz. That's whatsupyuma.biz. Click that radio link and click the book me. Yes, it's that easy. Get on this show and you could be on here. You have a story to tell. I know it. Do that. And yes, everybody have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by High Tanks Brewing Company, serving up scratch-made food, craft beers, and experiences at 2 desert locations in Welton. More at hightanks.com.
Broadcasting from Yuma campus